God of War Ragnarok picks right up where the secret ending of the 2018 title finishes. After finding out that Atreus can turn into a bear, Kratos and Atreus are paid a visit by Thor and Odin after learning that Atreus has been searching for Tyr. Tyr is the lost god of war that Odin had banished from Asgard. Odin is also upset about the loss of his son Balder, who Kratos killed in God of War 2018. Odin orders Thor to kill Kratos, the first fight that we'll see in the game between these two. They share blows for 3 rounds, like all God of War boss fights, and after all of that, Thor eventually flies away after finding out that Kratos is a worthy opponent, but I'm sure that we'll be seeing him again down the road. Kratos realizes that the two are no longer safe at their home in Midgard. Brock and Sindri appear in comic relief to escort the two to Sindri's house in the branches of the World Tree. Now that was a lot of information all at once, but that's the exact rapid-fire approach that gets us started here. At Sindri's house, Atreus tells his dad about his continued search for Tyr and somehow convinces Kratos to help him. But why is Atreus so keen on finding Tyr? It's because he believes that Tyr can be an important piece in stopping Odin and his forces. Going back to God of War 2018, Atreus feels responsible for this now because of his newfound identity, Loki. While Kratos tries all he can to avoid warfare in this game, he too can recognize the importance of Atreus' goal. A lead brings them to Svartalfheim where against all odds, Tyr is actually found, but seems like anything but an old God of War. Kratos and Atreus return to Sindri's house where Tyr is also given a space to live, and it's at this point where Atreus becomes a playable character for the first time in a really cool cutscene transition. He's determined to travel back to Midgard with the help of Sindri to speak with Freya, ex-wife of Odin, to tell her about the retrieval of Tyr and their plan to attack Asgard. Freya tells Atreus that she could just kill him for what he and Kratos did to her son Balder, and says that she never wants to see him again. Atreus returns home again, only raising concern from Kratos about his plans. Kratos, still desperately trying to avoid war, largely in part because of his old days in Sparta, but also because he tries to keep his son safe throughout the game. Now even to the surprise of Atreus, Kratos says that the two are going to Alfheim with Tyr, home of the elves, to find Groa's shrine. The path to Groa's shrine emphasizes the prophecy theme throughout the game, and enforces the hatred towards Odin that all of the realms share. Prophecy shows Tyr fighting in Ragnarok, and mentions of Ironwood, which we're about to see. After fighting with Kratos about their prophecies, Atreus goes to sleep only to wake up in the secret land of the giants, Ironwood. Here in Ironwood, Atreus meets another giant by the name of Angerboda. This is the only part of the game that I feel dragged on for too long, but I guess it is still important for the story. Angerboda encourages the prophecies that Atreus sees, and the idea that he still does have a bigger purpose as Loki. This obviously coming at the cost of Kratos' death during Ragnarok, and Atreus joining forces with Odin. We're going to see Kratos and Atreus do everything that they can to prevent this prophecy, while keeping each other safe. The trip to Ironwood also teaches us that the giants survived Odin's slaughter by hiding themselves as spirit stones. When trying to return to Sindri's, Kratos returns to Atreus first in Midgard, and confronts him about the dangers of leaving his side. This is one of my favorite scenes from the game.
I wanted to visit Fenrir.
For 2 days. Do not lie to me again! Why did you come here? Alone? Do you seek death?
And right after this, Freya joins in on the fun and agrees not to kill Kratos if he helps lift the spell put onto her by Odin. To lift the spell, they travel to the realm Vanaheim where Freya grew up, where she has to turn herself into a falcon because Odin's spell prevents her from going to any realm outside of Midgard. We also meet her brother Freyr here. Traveling through Vanaheim, Kratos has to kill Nidhogg as it blocks the way to break Freya's curse. On their travels though, Kratos and Freya bond over their past and lost children. When able to turn back into her form, Freya agrees not to kill Kratos, as they realize that they share a common enemy in Odin. This time when Kratos returns back to Sindri's house, his continued aggravation drives Atreus to Asgard to see how he can help Odin. Back when Odin was at their house in Midgard, he made it seem like Loki was important to him, and this seems like an easy choice for Atreus to make, since Kratos is in denial about the prophecies of Loki, and only seems to yell at his son at this point. Right when he gets to Asgard, Atreus meets an invincible punk by the name of Heimdall that tries to bully Atreus out of Asgard. Heimdall works for Odin, and Odin puts an end to this. Now searching for knowledge on how to fix their situation, Kratos and Freya seek help of the Norns only to find out that prophecy has Heimdall killing Atreus. Kratos then takes Brock to the Lady of the Forge to construct a weapon capable of hurting Heimdall with a dwarven material provided by Sindri. Earlier in the game, Sindri tells Atreus that Brock has died in the past and was brought back to life by Sindri without part of his soul. However, he never told Brock that this happened. This is when Brock finds out.
Hello? Hello? aren't even here.
The Lady of the Forge can't see Brock because of this, which is when Brock realizes that he's missing part of his soul. Kratos allows Brock to bless the spear, in a touching moment, showing a softer side of Kratos. Now going back to Atreus, he's in Helheim with Thor's daughter Thrud, as he told Odin about a lead that he has on some missing piece of a mask that Odin has spent lifetimes researching. The mask supposedly having the answers to all the whys and hows about life. While in Helheim, Atreus lets loose a wolf by the name of Garm who was chained up. This eventually reunited Kratos and Atreus, as this ended up impacting all of the realms, including an invasion of the Walking Dead at Sindri's house. Atreus comes up with a clever plan and ends up transferring Fenrir's soul into Garm, which he had bound to his knife. This leaves us with a really large-sized, good boy in Fenrir after Garm was killed by Kratos. Now with the father and son seemingly back on the same page, Kratos allows Atreus to travel back to Asgard, but this time to get some intel on Odin. After finding all of the pieces to Odin's mask, Atreus is able to sneak out of Asgard with it, thanks to a spell that was given to him by Sindri. Atreus finds himself back at Sindri's house, and this is where things take a turn for the worse. While developing a plan to attack Asgard and all of Odin's forces, Tyr speaks up for really the first time in the entire game, saying that he knows a way into Asgard that Odin won't see coming. Brock finds this suspicious and presses on Tyr for more information. This is what happens next.
Like, what's with him calling you Loki anyway? You know that ain't his name. Hey! I'm talking to you!
You never.
Shut up! Brock!
All the things,
Odin.
We find out that Tyr was just Odin in disguise all along, and this comes at the expense of Brock's life. This obviously has the biggest impact on Sindri, who had stated on the record in the game that he could never live without Brock, and was why he resurrected him previously. But there was no saving him this time. Sindri blames Atreus for this mess, and allowing Odin into his home, which is a side of Sindri that we've never seen before.
Just get the fuck out of my sight.
At this point, all that's left to do is bring Ragnarok to Asgard, and the first step to doing so is to rescue the wolves Skoll and Hati, who are the key figures in the event. They also get Surtur to ally with them to arrive in Asgard as Ragnarok. Kratos is appointed as general of the attack on Asgard by Freya and her Valkyries. All of the forces gather at Tyr's temple in Midgard, where the Gjallarhorn is sounded, opening up travel between all of the realms. The siege on Asgard has begun, and it couldn't be off to a worse start. Odin's using innocent Midgardians to defend Asgard, Sindri couldn't get an army of dwarves, and Surtur can't stop killing innocent people. Thankfully, Angrboda arrives with the help from Fenrir and Jörmungandr. Sindri proves to be a big help in penetrating the defenses of Asgard, and Kratos eventually makes his way towards the center of Asgard for his second battle with Thor. This one's going to go multiple rounds again, but Thor can't seem to defeat Kratos. Thor agrees not to kill Kratos after he realizes that both of their children have grown as close friends. Well, Odin's here for none of that, and kills Thor on the spot for disobeying him. And now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Much more powerful than Thor, Odin battles it out with Kratos, which will eventually be won by Kratos. A weakened Odin watches his life's work get shattered by Atreus before getting his soul sucked into a spirit stone. Unsure of what to do with it, Sindri comes out of nowhere and smashes the stone, putting an end to Odin. At the end of the game, Atreus wakes up surrounded by all of his friends that he's met traveling all the realms. Angrboda takes him and Kratos to one final mural showing that they were able to rewrite their fate and not rely on prophecies. In a moment to himself, Kratos heads behind the mural to find himself being honored as a god. Kratos and Freya now set out to clean up their mess over the realms. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below on what game you'd like to see me recap next. Thanks for watching.